Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Campfire Stories. And today we're going to talk about a story where, you know, when you lie on your resume and you still get the job, it's kind of has to do with that. So this story takes us back to November of 2018 when a buddy of mine called and said, "Hey, do you want to go join us for a climbing trip down to the Red Rocks in Vegas?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. It's only like a 5-hour drive. Why not?" So I drove down and met up with him and quickly realized I was getting in over my head. So this group of friends' main goal was to knock off a few of the classic routes down to the Red Rocks, which are big multi-pitch climbs. So that's like 6+ pitches, which is like hundreds and hundreds of feet of climbing, which I had not done until this point. So I've only done like a 3-pitch climb, which was like 200 feet right here in Salt Lake. And it did not prepare me for what we were about to experience. I started to get the idea that this was going to be a little more than I expected when we were in the garage past midnight, going gear by gear and saying, okay, do we need this? Do we not need this? Because we were trying to go as light as possible and all to fit in a tiny pack, including a big jacket. And I was like, whoa, I've never done this kind of stuff before, but my buddy Nate and his friend Tita were the ones I was going to be paired up with for this climbing party of 3. Trusted Nate wholeheartedly. You know, he's the one who taught me how to climb outside, and he had glowing praises for how good Tita was, so I was like, okay, I'm in good hands. So after a few hours of rest, we got up early for an alpine start, and we were at the trailhead and at the base in no time. Which didn't mean there wasn't discussion about actually where the route was, but who was I to judge, because I had no idea what we were getting ourselves into, and I was just kind of tagging along, so didn't really carry my weight. But luckily I was able to climb the first pitch and get us off the ground, which is kind of where the day started for me, and where it also started to get a little bit overwhelming. I've trad climbed a bunch of times before, but I had never done a trad anchor where I wasn't just sitting on a ledge or clipping into bolts, and so get to where the end of the pitch is, and there's no tether or like slings that I was supposed to link into, and so there I am building an anchor, hanging off, yelling down below me like, hey guys, like, how do I build this? And luckily they were patient with me and I was able to get it done. This is also the first time I've ever simul-belayed 2 climbers at once, and you know, that was a learning experience in itself. But hey, this is just pitch 1 and we were able to make it through. Then we started getting absolutely frigid. We picked this route because it was supposed to be in the sunlight the whole day, but it wasn't. So yeah, this late in the year, the sun never really came around the route next to us, and we stayed in the shade the entire climb. And so by pitch 3, the wind started picking up, and every belay was miserable. We were just sitting there freezing the whole time. And then you put your hand on a rock, and all the heat would just get taken right out of your hand because the rocks were so cold. But what are you going to do? You're already up there, you're 3 pitches in, you're 300+ feet off the ground, and it's like, well, you're halfway, you might as well just keep going, right? Of course that's the right direction to go, right? Climbing, got to go up. Didn't take away from how incredible the rock climbing was on this trip. It was so diverse on every single pitch. You're grabbing these face holds that look like moles and really strange looking holds, and then you're climbing finger cracks, and then you're shuffling your way through chimneys and through these like water drainages and laybacks. It had everything you could ever ask for on a climb, and it's all sandstone, so you know it's either bomber or it's gonna fall off, so that's always exciting. I had a piece fall off right in my hand, and luckily I just placed a piece of gear right beforehand and was able to catch myself. But it's an exciting to climb on sandstone, to say the least. And luckily, Tita was pretty much leading the whole thing, so I got to just tag along in the middle and just follow him up and really just have a good go at it. And it was about on pitch 4 when I realized we were committed. Some of these belay ledges had me like stacked 3 below the other guys, and you're just kind of crawled into these chimneys, really just waiting for your turn to climb, and it was at least beautiful. You're seeing like Las Vegas skyline, just unbelievably close, I guess is the best way to describe it. So then after Nate was able to finish out that last pitch, which included a huge run-out, bolt-protected slab that went 30 feet, which was super sketchy, but I mean, climbing was fantastic, but it was the most exposed part of the climb that, why not be 800 feet off the ground? So you gotta get your money's worth at the end right there. So then after 8 hours of climbing, we finally topped out, and it couldn't have been more incredible. Coming over that last pitch and just standing up at the top and just being like, damn, finally we made it. And you just see Vegas out there and all the red rocks surrounding you, and it's slowly getting into the sunset time, so it's getting a little dimmer, but it couldn't have been better. And I'll never forget the turkey and chipotle mayo sandwich we had at the very top. For some reason, it tasted the best sandwich I've ever had. And then split over a couple beers. It was a great way to end a day of climbing. We scrambled off the backside into this gully, which proved to be almost as difficult as the climb itself, but it worked out. We were able to get down, no problems, and get back to the trailhead just in time for this amazing show, the sunset, over the red rocks, and it was just an incredible way to end a very, very challenging day of climbing. And not because the climbing was hard, but man, multi-pitch climbing is no joke. It's as expected, very difficult to pick up on the fly, but you only have one choice when you're up there, is to go up. So I think we managed well, and I can't thank Nate and Tita enough for really just letting me tag along. And I didn't bring much to the table besides hauling some rope and taking some photos. So that's the story of climbing Purblind Pillar in the Red Rocks outside of Vegas, and it's one of those stories that I think I'll remember for the rest of my life. All right, stay tuned for the next one, all right? Get out there and get after it. Until then, see ya.